Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Nate Woods. I'm a senior partner here at Action Coach Peachtree. Today, I have Kiefer, the founder of SŌZŌ Yoga, as my guest. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about her business, the journey through her business ownership, some challenges she's faced, and how she's been able to overcome those, and really dig into what it's like to run her business. If it's your first time on the channel, make sure to like and subscribe so you can get notifications when we drop new interviews just like this one. And Kira, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If you would just give me a brief overview of your background and tell me a little bit about your business.
Well, I was a high school math teacher, graduated from University of Alabama, and I taught high school math for 9 years before having our two children, and then stayed home with our two kids for 13 years before really getting into wanting to open my own business.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about what the ownership structure looks like at SŌZŌ Yoga. Are you the sole founder and owner? Do you have outside investors?
No, I am the sole owner. A lot of people always say to Russ and I, we love your business. And he's really quick to say, well, it's actually Kara's business. And he challenged me along the way just to make sure that I really, really wanted to walk through this and to open a yoga studio, to just do it on my own and try to figure things out. So it is definitely just mine. I do have some key people who are great friends, some of the yoga teachers as well, who've leaned into the business to help me as well get started. And I just bounce stuff off of them all the time. Really grateful for those people.
That's awesome. So what is your current role in the business? What do you do day to day?
Well, I teach classes, which I absolutely love. And then I'm running everything. So I help with our marketing. I do have Caroline, who she is core marketing, who does our marketing for us. But I'm helping her with that. And then I'm just making sure everything's running smoothly. As far as like staffing, a lot of times, people are out for whatever reason. And so I'm not hiring, but finding subs for classes and just making sure everything's running well at the studio. We're really lucky because I feel like once I got this off the ground, it runs itself because the classes, people book their own classes, but there's always stuff that happens where people need some help with stuff. So there's little things day to day that I guess I didn't realize that I would also be dealing with, but it's fun because I love people. So I'm always interacting with people, answering questions, and just kind of helping in that way. But then there's also kind of the business side of it, financial part of it, where you've got to keep that part rolling as well. So I have my hand, I feel like, in every part of it as the owner and
Absolutely.
operator.
Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about what makes your business special. So what do you think makes you unique? Why do your customers choose to come to you?
I think they choose to come to me because of when I started thinking about owning a yoga studio, I thought about like, what do I want people to feel when they walk through the doors? Like their senses, what they're seeing, smelling, hearing. And then the feelings that they leave the studio with were really important to me. So as I started creating the idea for the business, I just started writing down everything I wanted people to feel. And so I think it makes it unique because we're not just a yoga studio that you walk in, you sit down, you're quiet, waiting for the class to start. You do your class and you leave. It's a community of people who are living life together and cheering each other on. And so one of our taglines is wellness and community. And that's a big thing for me is the community piece of it. It feels like a family. So that's what it makes it different than just going and popping in and taking a yoga class at a studio where you don't really know anybody.
Absolutely. So what is one thing that you wish more people knew about your business?
Well, I think I guess the biggest thing is that a lot of people are scared to take yoga classes. So I wish people knew that yoga is for every body, every person, and every body type out there. And that you don't need to be intimidated to come to our yoga studio. You don't need to be intimidated to try a class because no one's really looking at you but the teacher making sure you're using proper form. I think a lot of people think that people are in there watching them and they're going to critique them and judge them. And that is not at all what it's about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So marketing is obviously very important, getting your word out in the community. I'm always curious what other business owners are doing, how they're being successful. So what would you say as a percentage of your monthly sales do you typically invest back into marketing your business?
That's a great question. And I honestly don't know that exact percentage. I think it's fluctuated,
Mhm.
month to month. And just we're starting our 7th month coming up. So um, in the beginning, it was a lot, I think we were trying to put back in, and then it kind of eased off. And it's interesting because Caroline and I work so tightly with the marketing stuff together and creating new content to put out. But I honestly, I don't know the percentage, but I think you have to put yourself out there in a marketing way or people aren't going to know about you. And it's so different now versus 10 years ago with all of the social media strategies that you need to know. So if you're not up on that, and I'm just grateful I have her because she's a good bit younger than I am. So she knows how to do all of that and helps me learn. And a lot of it, I feel like a lot of it too, marketing is just word of mouth.
Yeah.
People come, they experience it, and then they bring their friends or their family. And that's actually the best marketing that you can have is just people who are loving what you're putting out and then wanting to
Mhm.
bring their network back with them.
Absolutely. So you talked about a couple different strategies there. If you had to pick the number one marketing strategy that has brought you the most business so far, what would you say that is?
I think it's word of mouth. Honestly, I think it's having people come and creating this wonderful experience for them and then them leaving feeling better about who they are and better about how their body feels and their mind feels. And so they go and share that with other people. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing that, I think if you have this great big marketing strategy through social media or flyers, newsletters, mail, that's great, but people can't feel the experience,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so if you have someone constantly saying to you, you have to come try this, it's so good, you might be more willing to go try.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we talked a little bit about the business and how you've been able to grow it so far. So now I want to dive into your story a little bit more. So you talked about being a teacher, then raising the children, and then going back and opening the studio. When you decided to go back and open the studio, what made you decide, hey, I want to go into business for myself versus I want to go back and work with somebody else?
Well, I helped open a yoga studio in Peachtree City. And so I got to kind of see what it was like working with other people, which I love working with other people. But opening it in Trilith in the community where I lived, I had conversations with people to go in with me on it. And ultimately, it was just me in the end that wanted to take that burden on. And
Mhm.
so I walked through it, felt that calling on my life, and did it. And so it's just, and I'm grateful now that it is all mine, but that I rely so heavily on some really influential people to give me sound advice and wisdom.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the best, to me, it's the best of both worlds. I do have a network of people supporting me and leaning in, but it's mine to make decisions, and carry out.
Yeah. It's definitely it's beneficial to have that final say in the direction that you want to take the
Yes.
business.
Yes. Yes, for
So
sure.
as you look back on that journey, was there one specific roadblock or hurdle that challenged you that you were able to overcome?
Yeah. I mean, being a stay-at-home mom, I kind of had, well, at least 8 hours while kids were in school to myself to do what I wanted to do. And so I think that was the biggest hurdle was, do I want to let go of that life and start a life where I'm going to have a lot of people who need me, or I'm going to have a lot more responsibility. It took me really from April of 2022 to January 26th this year to make that decision. And I went back and forth, but I just kept hearing like, you're going to have people to help you. I'm going to put people in your path. They're going to be able to help you. And, this calling is not just about me. It's really about our community and it's about our yoga community, not just Trilith, but everyone who walks through our doors to be able to help them live a better life. And I'm a nurturer. I love to help people. And so it just felt like the right time with my kids at the right ages that they would also be able to walk alongside Russ and I as we were opening the studio.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've talked about how important it's been to surround yourself with great people and a great team. How would you describe your leadership style in the business?
Well, I am definitely not a dictator, but I love for people to, I mean, I want everyone to feel valued. It's not just mine, it's all of ours. So I have a team of, there's 14 of us. And each person to me brings something super special to our community that I can't bring to the community. So I'm so grateful that each person teaching at the studio has that special superpower, because it draws other people in, and it shows that it's not just the power flow teacher. Like I love power flow and the hot 26 classes, but there's other offerings. So it's a group effort, really. Like I'm leading in a way of, hey, here are the things that we've got to do, but encouraging as well. And that's what I hope, that they feel appreciated and encouraged, but also that they have a say in it. And I always ask for feedback. I love feedback, because even if it's negative feedback, it makes me sit back and think, okay, how could I make this better for all of us?
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about that great team that you have in place, what's been your approach to hiring and then retaining those great team members you have?
Well, the crazy thing is, when I started February 13th, there were three of us. And slowly we grew to 14 within 6 months. I haven't had to recruit or really go after and hire people. I've had people come to me who have said, hey, we would love to teach at your studio. And the great thing is, it's really been, um, I know them, or it's one person away. It's a friend of mine who said, hey, you've got to meet this person. She would be great. So I haven't had to put anything out on hiring. It's just happened that they've walked in my doors and said, hey, I'm a kids yoga teacher. I would love to teach a kids yoga class. I'm like, yes, because I don't want to do that. But and so really, I just employ yoga teachers. I manage it all.
Mhm.
And so other than that, it's just been super simple to
Yeah.
bring people. I've had a couple people come in and want to teach, but some of the styles of yoga, I'm not going to necessarily offer. Like I want it to be in line with my heart and my vision for the studio and what that core group of us created. So if it's not in line with that, unfortunately, we're not going to offer that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Have to have the right fit and have that vision for what you want to build.
Yeah.
So before I get to my final question of the day, how can people learn more about you or more about SŌZŌ Yoga? What's the best way they can get in contact?
Well, I mean, on our website, there's a about us section, and there's a great article Caroline did. If you go on our Instagram page, we have a lot of different reels and videos like that talks about how we got here and what the name means and why, our vision, mission, all of that. So I think if you want to learn more about me in the studio, it's great to go through Instagram or just check our website out.
Perfect. And I'll make that easy to get to. They can find it in the description below.
Right.
So my last question for you today is, what most inspires you as you continue to move forward with the business?
I mean, I think hearing people's stories, the people that are taking classes, and it's not just, it's also teachers that are teaching and also practicing, but you would not believe, like, I didn't realize how rewarding this would be for me. I mean, it's been so extremely hard, but hearing the people practicing and what they tell me after they've been practicing blows me away. And it just continues to inspire me to keep going. Like if something gets hard, or, I'm feeling burnt out because I'm doing tons of classes because teachers are out. It's every time I walk in there and I see these faces and they tell me, my hip doesn't hurt anymore, or my knee doesn't hurt anymore, or, hey, look, I can do this now, or I can touch my toes, or my mind is so clear. And so it's a beautiful job to have, because I'm blessed every day because I get to hear from people. One of the girls told me she went hiking this past weekend, and she said, it's always been hard for me. I love it, but my breath is just, I run out of breath. And she said, but because of the yoga practice and how you've taught us to breathe, she's like, I made it the entire way. I didn't have to stop. I was like, that's so cool. It's really, really cool. We have a basketball player who, he also said the same thing at the end of his games now. He can control his breath so well from just 3 months of practicing, that he is not exhausted at the end of his games, and mind is super clear and focused. And so just stories like that, it's like changing people's lives for the better in health and wellness. It just makes me like really happy, which is part of the reason I got into wanting to open my own studio here, is just to help people with that whole mind, body, spirit wholeness.
That's awesome. Kara, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story. It's been great talking to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Nate.